At the spring banquet, my elder sister let the Empress Dowager's parrot escape. She knelt down, tears streaming down her face. "Please spare my sister's life, Your Majesty. She didn't mean to drown the parrot, she was just too playful." That parrot could recite Buddhist scriptures, it was the Empress Dowager's most cherished possession. Enraged, she fainted. The emperor ordered, "Drown me in the lotus pond." My elder sister, known for her kindness and sincerity, entered the palace as a consort. When I opened my eyes again, my elder sister was frowning, clutching the invitation to the spring banquet. With so many noble ladies, how could the emperor possibly remember me? Spring at the loyal Faith Marquis's residence unfolded as it had for the past 8 years, utterly uneventful. The crevices still bloomed with purple violets, and the new maidservants always eagerly weeded them out. The old matrons smiled meaningfully. The Marquis ordered that the flowers in the fragrant garden must not be removed. The late Lady Lu, his concubine, loved these wildflowers most. The Marquis cherishes old memories. Lu Yinin, daughter of a scholar, happened to save his life. They married in the countryside and bore a daughter. Later, when the Marquis recovered, he brought them all back to the capital. What a blessed life, silk robes and fine food all her days. Yet she still wasn't satisfied, weeping daily. Her early death was only fitting. The old matron sighed. "Hush, don't let second young miss hear you, her temper is as unpredictable as the weather." Second young Miss Bilingsi. That's me. I am also the daughter of Lu Yinin, demoted from wife to concubine. Spring banquet. In name, a flower viewing, in truth, a matchmaking gathering. Whichever family's daughter stood out in beauty and grace would be fought over by noble ladies, securing a splendid match. Some might even be chosen by the Empress Dowager herself, betrothed to a prince or duke, or, in the most extraordinary cases, ascend directly to the palace as a concubine. This was a miniature imperial selection. The noble ladies jostled fiercely, desperate to show their lotus-like faces, hoping to etch their names into the emperor's heart. My elder sister, Bai Lingxin, was no exception. Spoiled since childhood, she grew into a gentle and exquisite beauty, the most promising young lady in the entire Bai clan. The Marquis and his wife placed great hopes upon her. From the age of 10, she studied etiquette and cultivated her character under a palace matron, awaiting her moment to dazzle at the spring banquet. In my past life, she attended the banquet with me. Though she was dressed in her finest, the spring banquet was filled with noble ladies, each as beautiful as a flower or the moon. The eldest daughter of the Marquis of Zhongxin's household could only blend into the crowd. Seeing the Empress Dowager nod approvingly at several noble ladies, my elder sister grew anxious. She pulled me out of the courtyard and told me to wait for her in the bamboo garden pavilion. "Lingxi, I'm going to change my clothes. Wait here. Don't wander off." During my 8 years at the Marquis of Zhongxin's residence, the Marquis ignored me, the Marquis's wife despised me, and my elder sister, Bai Lingxin, while not exactly fond of me, had spoken up to defend me many times. I never doubted her. But the one who came for me wasn't her. Instead, an angry old matron and guards stormed in. They knocked me to the ground, bound me like a beast, and dragged me before the Empress Dowager and the Emperor. The spring banquet fell instantly silent. Every gaze pierced me like needles. I heard my elder sister's sweet, pitiful sobs. "Please, Your Majesty, spare my sister's life. She didn't mean to drown the parrot. She was just too playful. Though I am her eldest sister, I cannot show favoritism." I only begged the Empress Dowager and the Emperor to spare her life, considering her young and ignorant. She has always defended me like this. It was just petty squabbling in the mansion. I never realized she could harbor such a vicious heart. The parrot could recite Buddhist scriptures. The Empress Dowager wanted to fall asleep listening to the sutras every night. When it died, the Empress Dowager was both grief-stricken and furious. Tanqin was gentle and intelligent, never harming anyone willingly. What grudge did you hold to drown it? Your sister is only a few years older than you, gentle and courteous, yet you harbor such a dark and vicious heart. The Empress Dowager's health was fragile, and her complexion grew increasingly pale. "Mother, do not anger yourself. For Tanqin's death, you shall pay with your life." The Emperor's icy voice echoed. I was drowned alive in the lotus pond. Becoming a bound spirit. I watched helplessly as my elder sister earned a reputation for loyalty and kindness, rising above the noble ladies to enter the palace. That parrot never died, my elder sister deliberately set it free. Within a month, it flew back. On the day of her investiture as a fourth-rank consort, the parrot perched on the glazed tiles and chanted the Lotus Sutra. My elder sister ascended the steps, ethereal as a fairy of Mount Guy. The empress dowager and the emperor believed her to be a heavenly fated noblewoman and immediately elevated her to imperial consort. After moving into Ikuan Palace, her first act was to seek out Taoist priests. May my sister, by Lingxi, never find rebirth for all eternity. May I be ground to dust and scattered to the winds, vanishing utterly from this world. When I opened my eyes again, my elder sister was frowning while clutching the invitation to the spring banquet. With so many noble ladies present, how could the emperor possibly remember me? I had been reborn on the very day of the spring banquet. At the Bihua Palace, the banquet was in full swing. The noble ladies sat around the empress dowager and the imperial consorts, sharing amusing anecdotes that drew smiles from the noble ladies. The daughter of the Duke of Qingwa still has that sweet tongue. The eldest princess's daughter is such a charming girl. The scholar's daughter is well versed in literature too. That good-for-nothing son of the concubine is finally old enough to leave the palace and establish his own household. I wonder which young lady could tame him. Your Majesty, perhaps you could keep an eye out for us. The elderly consort smiled and praised them. The empress dowager, fingering her prayer beads, nodded slightly. Her gaze was like that of a bodhisattva, both compassionate and commanding. This empress dowager finds them all quite suitable. The emperor will be joining us shortly. Let him take a good look as well. The noble lady's eyes brightened. They adjusted the jeweled hairpins and gold ornaments in their hair, their smiles growing even more graceful and composed. They were all distinguished noble ladies of the capital, blessed with distinguished lineage, striking beauty, and exceptional talents. Barring any mishaps, each would marry into the imperial family. Though the Marquis of Zhongxun's household was also a noble house of merit, it could only be considered second tier. At that moment, my elder sister and I stood in a corner, our figures concealed by the wisteria trellis. From this position, the Empress Dowager couldn't see us, nor would the Emperor seated at the main table shortly. My elder sister grew anxious. This won't do. We've come all this way for nothing. I must think of a way. She fidgeted with the invitation to the spring banquet, her brow furrowed in frustration, unwilling to be outdone. Several noble ladies gathered to touch up their makeup and reapply rouge. The Empress Dowager's parrot reciting scripture, how novel. Once we're inside the palace, who knows what treasures we'll discover. I'd wager the Empress Dowager favors Sister Tong. They whispered and giggled as they passed beneath the lush wisteria arbor. The eldest sister stirred at this, releasing the invitation. Her eyes flickered with calculation, clearly, a plan had formed. Lingxi, let's go see that parrot too. When she took my hand, I couldn't help but shiver. That scene from my past life was about to repeat itself. We reached the bamboo garden. Thousands of bamboo stalks stood tall, their deep green shrouding the place in quiet. Just like in my past life, my elder sister stopped, clutching her stomach. She said she needed to use the lavatory and told me to wait here for her. I obediently nodded. Go ahead, sister. I won't wander off. She departed with ease. The moment her figure vanished, I scrambled onto the large stone beside the pavilion, swiftly scaled the wall, and leapt down with a deft jump, successfully escaping the bamboo grove. The grove had only one gate. My elder sister had casually locked it behind her, intending to trap me here and cast me as the villain in this charade of releasing the parrot. But she forgot one thing. I was a wild child raised in the countryside. I climbed trees at 5, identified herbs at 6, learned to swim at 7, and arrived at the Marquis' estate at 8, where I was once soundly beaten by the Marquis' wife for climbing trees recklessly. After scaling the courtyard wall, I found the parrot a full 15 minutes before my elder sister. 2 little palace maids had stomachaches. They'd been crouched in the lavatory, wailing ouch. Ouch! They had no time to notice anyone approaching. I raised my voice to mimic a cat's meow, meow meow meow. The parrot in its cage instantly grew alert, its pea-sized eyes darting about. Frustrated, I knocked on the lavatory door. "Sisters!" A wild cat startled the parrot. "Look at it, what's wrong?" The two maids looked equally anxious, but their stomach pains kept them rooted to the spot. They replied, "Miss, please fetch Auntie Jean. She's the one who cares for Tonchin. We're just assistants and don't know how to calm it." Taking their pass tokens, I walked along the eaves for 100 paces before finding Auntie Jean. Calculating the time, I knew my elder sister should be arriving soon. I quickened my pace, half supporting Auntie Jean as we hurried onward. The parrot, named Tonchin, wasn't a rare breed, but it excelled at reciting sutras, making it the Empress Dowager's cherished treasure. The Empress Dowager was frail and could only sleep soundly after listening to Tonchin chant each night. Aunt Jean dared not delay, instead praising my foresight. When we arrived, my elder sister stood on tiptoe, pulling the latch off the golden cage door. A smug smile spread across her face. "You fly out of the imperial family, I fly into it. A win-win situation." By slandering me for drowning the parrot, she could then emerge feigning remorse, earning praise for her righteous sacrifice and loyalty to the imperial family. This grand scheme would indeed overshadow all the other noble ladies. The parrot curiously approached the cage door. Aunt Jean, witnessing this, grabbed my arm forcefully and pulled me forward. She roared angrily, "How dare you! Stop this at once! What nerve do you have to harm Tonchin, our little treasure?" My elder sister flinched in fright. Her hands trembled as she slid the latch back into place, forcing a smile. "Auntie, I was feeding it. I heard from Nanny Yang that Tonchin loves imperial crimson rice. Seeing no one had fed it, I specially added some." Auntie Jean carefully inspected the golden cage and gently soothed Tonchin. Noticing the two young palace maids were absent, her anger subsided somewhat. She remarked meaningfully, "After Yang Yuan left the palace, it seems she taught you well. That temperament remains unchanged." Yang Yuan was the matron or household hired to teach my elder sister court etiquette. Lady Ho said she wanted to provide for her in her old age, so Yang Yuan taught my sister with even greater dedication, treating her like a daughter. Fortunately, Tonchin is unharmed. "Very well, you should leave now. The banquet is about to begin." Aunt Jean sighed and waved her hand. "I know. Yang Yuan saved her life, so she spared my elder sister." My elder sister hurried back. As she left, she gave me a look. Gloomy and icy, like a snake in a bamboo grove, relentless until death. She won't let me off. The spring breeze was soft and gentle, yet my back was drenched in sweat. I was gambling. Aunt Jean finally spoke slowly. "You must be the second young miss of the Bai family. Judging by your sister's demeanor, she'll likely devour you when you return home. Yang Yuan saved me, I saved her disciple's life. You saved Tan Xin, that saved my life. Tonight I'll tell Her Imperial Majesty the Empress Dowager that Tan Xin favors you. Stay at the Bihua Palace for now." My gamble paid off. In my past life as a bound spirit, I witnessed Aunt Jean save countless young palace maids. She was a rare, kind-hearted soul within Bihua Palace. Sure enough, she was willing to spare my life. The banquet ended. Before my elder sister returned home, she sought me out specifically. Her words carried deep meaning. "Lingxi, why were you wandering about today? You offended a noble lady. Our household nearly suffered because of you. Fortunately, I covered for you. The Empress Dowager and Aunt Jean kept you here as a maid to feed the parrots. I know you resent it. Just wait. In a month, there will be the imperial selection. Then I'll request you to serve in my palace." Her eyes lit up with a strange, amused smile. Tonight's banquet. It seems she did pull some tricks. And succeeded. Life in Bihua Palace was far more bearable than at the Marquis of Zhongxin's residence. No marquis's wife wielding a cane to enforce her rules, no elder sister constantly setting traps only to rescue me, all to bolster her own image, no maids or servants perpetually breaking dishes or misplacing jewels. It was unbearably tiresome. All I need to do is feed Tonchin, refill its water, groom its feathers, teach it new sutras, take it for garden strolls, and wipe its plumage. Aunt Jean is kind-hearted, never scolding me. Sometimes she even offers quiet advice. It's hard for a woman to make her way in the world. Cherish yourself all the more. Lingxi, you must cherish yourself too. You can't spend every day dressed in court attire. Compared to your elder sister, you're far too detached. Detached. It's just not the right time yet. I offered a faint smile, took the sachets from her hands, and helped with whatever chores I could manage. I'd learned some herbal medicine from my mother. How to keep chickens and birds with glossy feathers. How to make soothing pillows fragrant and soft. There are secrets to each. Within a month, Tanxin's plumage grew ever more lush, a vivid golden yellow, faintly glowing with a halo of white light, like a divine bird. The Empress Dowager praised me endlessly. Since this child arrived, she's quietly tended to Tanxin, nurturing her so well. My insomnia has eased considerably. She's a good girl. After the imperial selection, assign this girl to my service. The Empress Dowager was willing to grant me a formal position. The emperor entered with his hands behind his back, bowing with a smile. Your son dares not compete with mother for anyone. For the first time, he looked at me properly. His gaze was light as a feather, yet beneath his detached tone lay a hint of interest. If mother likes her, then naturally, your son does too. The Empress Dowager was the emperor's biological mother. She had spent 20 years as a palace maid, her body worn thin by hardship. The emperor placed utmost importance on filial piety. His first act upon ascending the throne was to build a temple for the Empress Dowager and infect her maternal family as a duke. Unfortunately, her lineage had no daughters, so none entered the palace. The empress was the niece of the late emperor's legitimate mother, the Empress Dowager Rongxian, the Empress Dowager's sworn enemy. Neither the Empress Dowager nor the emperor favored her. I took my leave, carrying the birdcage. The Empress Dowager's voice drifted through the gauze window. You've spoiled Consort Ro far too much. She lost her child, and both she and I grieve, yet she remains utterly clueless. She pointed her finger at you, accusing you of favoring the Empress. Fool! The emperor remained silent. His silhouette cast upon the window remained a dark, heavy shadow. Evening. I volunteered to keep watch for Auntie Jean. Tanxin would cry at night, so to avoid disturbing the Empress Dowager's sleep, I had to take her for a walk in the garden. Moonlight streamed like a silver ribbon, bathing the ground in snowy white. Still clad in my palace maid's attire, a snow-blue quilted jacket and dark green skirt, I walked slowly through the flower beds, carrying the golden cage. In my previous life as a bound spirit, I once witnessed the emperor sitting alone late at night, deeply troubled by Consort Ro's violent outburst over the loss of her child. Passing through the wisteria arbor, we wound our way around the rockeries. Sure enough, a lonely figure sat by the water's edge. The emperor's tall, slender form leaned casually against the rock wall, several jars of wine placed beside him. Strong pear blossom white liquor. After finishing one jar, he was already slightly tipsy. Drunkenness eased 1,000 sorrows, the conflicts of the court, the rivalries within the harem, the heartbreak of Consort Ro's lost child, all these troubles could be temporarily forgotten. Though the emperor sat upon the highest throne, there was no one to share a cup with him. Countless consorts, yet not one who understood his heart. I halted on the opposite bank, hung my golden cage upon the wisteria trellis, and knelt reverently before the moon. May heaven grant Her Majesty the Empress Dowager boundless longevity. May it grant His Majesty freedom from troubles weighing upon his heart. May he cease to frown. This humble servant offers to trade my own lifespan in exchange. The wisteria blooms in quiet, fragrant splendor. The water shimmers, and the moon-worshipping maiden, delicate and ethereal, resembles a spirit among the flowers. This scene falls upon the emperor's eyes. It must be beautiful. He asks in a drawn-out voice. Who are you? Carrying my golden cage, I hurriedly slipped into the stone cave, resembling a shy, bewildered maiden. After that night, I continued tending to Tanxin and attending to the Empress Dowager, contentedly settling into the role of a palace maid. Many noble ladies looked down on me. A poor, fallen family, willingly lowering herself, a disgrace to the noble house. She voluntarily calls herself sisters with a servant. What sort of noble family is that? The matrons, palace maids, eunuchs, and guards at Bihua Palace all got along well with me. As spring brought lush growth and mosquitoes, I would bring them homemade cooling ointments and insect-repelling pouches, and teach them to identify common herbs. Palace servants are worthless lives. When they fall ill, they're banished to die. I saved a dying palace maid at the Hall of Tranquility. Her name was Ruan Shaoan. During the spring banquet, she accidentally broke a jade cup and was punished with 20 lashes, nearly beating her to death. With ample free time, I prepared medicinal soups for her. Over several months, she gradually recovered. Shaoan wept as she told me, Bai Lingxin, the eldest daughter of the loyal and trustworthy marquis, deliberately shattered the jade cup. Wine stained her in Miss Tong's garments, yet she falsely accused me of breaking it. Miss Tong, daughter of the Grand Princess, had a fierce temper. She ordered my execution on the spot, and both the Empress Dowager and the Emperor approved. Bai Lingxin then feigned concern, pleading for mercy, claiming I hadn't meant it. She said showing leniency to inferiors was the virtue of a noble woman, and she would take the punishment upon herself. The Empress Dowager praised her magnanimity and virtue, and the Emperor regarded her with newfound favor. But she was clearly a venomous creature. Shaoan in this life. My past self. We were both stepping stones on my elder sister's path to fame. Though each pebble was small, their accumulated weight could crush a life. I alone were not enough. There was also Ruan Shaoan. And Miss Tong Yuyao, whose reputation had been similarly tarnished. The imperial selection proceeded as scheduled. Tong Yuyao was granted the rank of 4th grade consort. My elder sister and I were both appointed 6th grade noble consorts. Shaoan, as my personal attendant, entered the Forbidden City alongside me. On the first night, the Emperor selected Tong Yuyao's tablet, bestowing upon her the title Xin. He favored her for 3 consecutive nights. Consort Xin became the center of attention. Disdaining my elder sister, Bai Lingxin, she repeatedly tormented her, criticizing her for improper ceremonial bows, slapping her across the face, and forcing her to kneel for 2 hours. You hypocritical wretch! You think you're so skilled at acting? Let's see how long you can keep up that virtuous facade. But the elder sister proved a formidable opponent. Without a word, she endured every indignity. The next day, she fainted feebly in the imperial garden, where she was conveniently caught in the emperor's arms as he strolled by. Xin Jiayu, please stop hitting me. Dressed in plain white robes, she wept like a pear blossom drenched in rain. The emperor, who always valued propriety and virtue, rebuked Xin Jiayu and Tong Yuyao. He then favored the eldest sister, graceful, dignified, and renowned for her virtue. Tong Yuyao was the daughter of the Grand Princess. By seniority, she could address the emperor as her cousin. That night, she removed her jewelry and waited outside the palace gates, her eyes red-rimmed. Her sobs were continuous. Cousin, Yuyao knows she was wrong. Punish me however you wish, just don't ignore me. Her pitiable appearance, like a freshly peeled lychee, softened the emperor's heart. He donned his dragon robe and lifted the barefoot Tong Yuyao into his arms. Yao Yao is being childish. The night air is cool. I'll take you back to the palace. She had intercepted her elder sister's turn to attend the emperor. Her elder sister sighed with resentment, Your Majesty. Yuyao has always been innocent and carefree. Lingxin, you must be more patient with her. I trust you have the magnanimity for it. The emperor did not look back. For the first time, the eldest sister found herself tripped up by the very reputation she'd so meticulously cultivated. She could only acquiesce. The palace gates closed one by one. Tong Yuyao's coquettish whispers and the emperor's soft soothing murmurs were swallowed by the night. The eldest sister gnawed her nails in fury. We'll see about that. Tong Yuyao, how long can your laughter last? Months later, Tong Yuyao was elevated to 3rd-rank noble consort. The emperor hosted a banquet, and the entire palace rejoiced. Yet suddenly, her face erupted in a rash. The imperial physician diagnosed it as a food allergy. Consort Xin's complexion was marred. She could no longer attend the emperor's bedchamber. Her elder sister, Bai Lingxin, once again became the emperor's favorite. Gentle and considerate, known for her grace and skill in winning others over, she was elevated to the rank of consort hui. She reassigned my palace maids and eunuchs to work in the laundry room. You're just a minor noblewoman, how could you possibly need so many servants? Cutting expenses and saving costs is only common sense. Xiao Wan took the packet of medicinal powder I gave her to the laundry room. She washed only the garments of the maidservants attending her elder sister. I watched coldly from the sidelines, never getting involved. Memories from my past life told me the emperor still harbored feelings for Consort Ro, imprisoned deep within the palace walls. His constant efforts to elevate Tong Yuyao and Bai Lingxin, fueling the palace dramas, were merely attempts to stir the ashes of Consort Ro's heart. To force her to submit. To force her to stop resenting him. To force her to emerge and vie for his favor. If the emperor could be so heartless toward the woman he loved, how could such a man ever be my pillar of support in the harem? I chose the empress dowager. After entering the palace, I visited Sinang Palace daily to pay my respects, come rain or shine. I accompanied the empress dowager in copying sutras, handling prayer beads, and personally tended to every task before the Buddha statues, sweeping the floor, scattering offerings, and arranging fruits. I taught Tanxi new sutras to recite. I gathered storybooks beloved by the elderly folk. I coaxed the empress dowager into beaming with joy. She had endured over 20 years as a palace maid, outliving both the old emperor and her own son's mother, only to finally enjoy these few years of ease. Her thoughts weren't as intricate as those of the noble ladies in the inner palace. Her joy was pure joy, her displeasure pure displeasure, clear and straightforward. Sometimes, a few colloquialisms would slip from her lips. Good heavens, girl, you're a looker. My elder sister once looked down on her in secret. She looks just like a country bumpkin. I don't want to serve an empress dowager like that every day. She's too coarse. I'd rather serve an empress dowager like her. She doesn't play all those twisted games, using people as pawns. Nor is she like the emperor, who takes pleasure in toying with women's affections. She noticed every little thing I did, took it to heart, and genuinely elevated my rank to third-rank consort. When the emperor visited Sinang Palace, he always saw me wearing a gentle smile, always heard the empress dowager's affectionate praise for me. The world was full of turmoil. Yet this corner of Sinang Palace remained eternally serene and peaceful, the emperor's own utopia. I fastened the insect-repelling sachets I had sewn by hand to the emperor's waist. Then, tiptoeing, I smoothed the collar embroidered with golden dragons. Blushing, I curtsied and stepped back behind the empress dowager. I could feel it. His gaze flickered over me like a flame, slow, deliberate, and intense. I lowered my brows and smiled faintly. While Tong Yuyao and Bai Lingxin bickered over a box of tribute-grade snail shell ink, I quietly planted a seed within his heart, a seed of quiet, unassuming grace. That was enough. The emperor visited Sinang Palace more and more often. At first, it was only to greet the empress dowager. Later, he would watch me brew and whisk tea in silence. Skilled in tea ceremony etiquette, he would sometimes take my hand to teach me the art of whisking tea when his interest was piqued. No one else was present. The empress dowager was napping. A single glance spoke volumes. Lingxi, without a word, when did you slip into my heart? The emperor murmured softly into my ear. Perhaps it was under the moonlight when I prayed to the gods. Perhaps it was when your delicate hands brewed tea. Perhaps it was when we served before the Buddha. Perhaps it was those accidental touches. I always responded with a gentle smile, serene as a lotus blooming in a bowl. Because I did not love him, I remained detached and unworldly, pure and refined. The seed planted long ago finally sprouted and grew leaves after a year. After my elder sister, Bai Lingxin, plotted against her, Tong Yuyao miscarried at 3 months. Deeply depressed, she followed Roan Consort's example and lashed out at the emperor. The emperor flew into a rage. He needed a flower that understood his words. And I. Like a garden bursting with purple violets, I bloomed silently within his heart. Spring came again. Outside the window, spring's tenderness unfurled, within, its radiance filled the chamber. I was elevated to the rank of noble consort, given the title Zhaoxiang, meaning radiant brilliance. Tong Yuyao and her elder sister continued their bitter feud. They still held me in utter contempt. Because Consort Ro had returned. Of the emperor's tenfold affection, eightfold resided in Consort Ro's moonlight palace. Only 2 points remained for the 3,000 beauties of the harem to vie for. Confined for a year, Consort Ro endured the cold stares of everyone in the palace. The imperial kitchen no longer supplied delicacies, daily meals were mere cold leftovers, as meager as swill. The Internal Revenue Department ceased providing red silk charcoal for winter, even rationing the most basic wood charcoal. Her senior palace maid caught a severe chill and froze to death. Tong Yuyao and Bai Lingxin even plundered the Moonlight Palace's cosmetics and ornamental plants. Those precious snail shell coal and purple jasmine rouge now adorned other faces. At first glance, they too shone brilliantly. This palace teemed with countless beauties and charmers. She was not the only one who could win the emperor's heart. Everything she cherished was stripped away, piece by piece, under the emperor's subtle directives and tacit approval. She had once reigned supreme in the harem, radiant as a pearl. Now, all that remained was a withered, wooden-like body and a shattered face. She intended to take her own life. I could not bear to watch. Last winter, I secretly sent cotton robes and charcoal braziers to Shaowan. Consort Ro, reduced to skin and bones, lay coughing on her cold bed. I am a dying woman. You can gain nothing from me. Spare yourself the effort. I brewed her a pot of hot ginger tea. Don't you wish to avenge your child? Her coughing grew more violent. The empress. It was the empress. Who killed my daughter? The steaming ginger tea, fiery and bold, rose in swirling vapors and surged straight into her lungs. I will kill the empress. I gently pressed her wrist and shook my head. No. It is the emperor. In my past life, my spirit wandered the Bihua Palace. I saw the emperor sitting alone late at night, drunk, spilling the truth about Consort Ro's lost child. The empress was the emperor's maternal aunt, the niece of the late Empress Dowager Rongxin. Rongxin had been a domineering woman, not only meddling in court affairs but also forbidding the emperor from elevating his birth mother to Empress Dowager. His own son had become emperor, yet his mother remained a kneeling palace maid. The emperor held filial piety and virtue in the highest regard. It was impossible for him not to harbor hatred. To curry favor with her aunt, the empress ordered the dowager empress, still a palace maid, to the laundry room. She deliberately had her wash her own everyday robes, then fabricated a pretext. The peony embroidery on the garment had been snagged by the coarse fingers of a lowly servant. The dowager empress received 20 lashes. This beating left her with lasting health issues. The emperor's distaste for the empress turned to hatred, and he desired to kill her with his own hands. Yet before her death, Empress Dowager Rongxin used her family's formidable backing as leverage, extracting a promise from the emperor that he would never depose her. The empress committed no grave offense. The emperor was also compelled to perform the ritual of the Zhou Gong on the 1st and 15th days of each lunar month. Naturally, the emperor was unwilling. Therefore, he deliberately orchestrated a scheme to cause the death of Consort Ro's child, framing the empress as the culprit. The empress, with her wicked heart and childless womb, could not bear the weight of the empire. She was unfit to be the mother of the nation. Your Majesty, we beseech you to depose the empress. The censors of the court began to petition. The emperor adopted the guise of a dutiful and filial son, lamenting, though the empress has erred, she is the beloved niece of the late Empress Dowager Rongxin. Her passing occurred but a year ago. I cherish the Empress Dowager's kindness and cannot bear to strip her niece of her position. He confined the empress to Cunning Palace, forbidding her to leave for the rest of her life. The entire court declared, His Majesty is benevolent. Even the empress's maternal clan felt the emperor's magnanimity and wisdom, marveling at such profound kindness, which only deepened their loyalty. The emperor emerged triumphant from this maneuver, all factions subdued. Only Consort Ro lost her child, lost her favor, lost everything. She froze upon hearing the news, her face turning ashen white before she coughed up a mouthful of blood. Outside the window, fierce winds whipped thick snow against the paper screens, making them rattle and crackle, as if it could blow the sickly beauty inside to pieces. After a long while, Consort Ro instead braced herself with her arms, slowly rising from the couch. In her every movement, the bearing of the favored consort who once reigned supreme over the harem returned. She said coldly, "Consort Zhao, what do you seek?" "What do I want?" In the courtyard of Lady Lu, the concubine of the loyal and trustworthy marquis, the purple violets bloomed especially profusely every spring. It began the year I turned 10. That spring, my concubine suddenly vanished. The marquis declared she attempted to elope with another man. I discovered her and struck her dead. I wept for a long time. I refused to believe my mother would run away with someone else. I refused to believe she would abandon me. The Marquis's wife declared, "Your mother was a wanton woman. She ran off with the Marquis back then, and she'll run off with another now. A dog's nature never changes, it will always eat its own filth." For the first time, I defied her, charging like a young bull and knocking her to the ground. Furious, she had me locked in the small courtyard, forbidding anyone from bringing me food or drink. Back then, scattered violets bloomed in the courtyard, and green shepherd's purse sprouted. I went hungry for 3 days. I dug up wildflowers and greens to eat. I even dug up their roots and stems, leaving nothing behind. It was then. I dug up a snow-white arm, its wrist adorned with a silver bracelet. It was my mother. My mother was the daughter of a scholar from the countryside. In a moment of kindness, she saved the Marquis, expecting nothing in return. The Marquis, finding her gentle and charming, deceived her by pretending to be a traveling merchant who roamed the land, claiming he had no betrothal at home. My grandfather, impressed by his handsome appearance and noble bearing, gave my mother to him in marriage. For years after the wedding, the Marquis visited only a few times each year. My maternal grandfather and mother never suspected him. They devoted themselves to raising me, urging me to understand the hardships of my father's travels. Until one day, Lady Ho arrived with burly servants and matrons, personally escorting the Marquis's concubine, Lady Lu, and his second daughter back to the capital. They were to return to the main estate and be recognized as part of the family. Only then did my mother realize she had been deceived. But by then, it was too late. The maidservants forcibly bound my mother and stuffed me into the carriage like a little chick. As the blue silk curtain closed, I saw my elderly grandfather knocked to the ground, a pair of black boots crushing his right hand, the one that held his writing brush. A sharp crack. Like a pen snapped in two. "Father!" Mother wailed with heart-rending grief. 1,000 miles away, parted for years, I never saw my grandfather again in this lifetime. The Marquis confined mother to the small courtyard, while the Marquis's wife severed all her ties to the outside world. "Serve the Marquis obediently," she said, "keep him tethered to the estate, prevent him from wandering off to chase other women." The Marquis's wife, neglected in his affections, believed using my mother could restrain her husband's wandering ways and earn her a reputation for virtue and magnanimity. Though the Marquis favored my mother, his annual custom of taking new concubines remained unchanged. My mother grew increasingly despondent. By the time I turned 10, I had blossomed into a lovely young girl, taller and more slender than my elder sister, Lady Ho remarked with hidden meaning. "My nephew from my mother's family is seeking a beautiful concubine." The Marquis also considers him a man of talent. Though vague, her words carried clear implication. My mother keenly sensed the danger I faced. She planned to take me away. Take me home. The night before she vanished, the Marquis and she had a fierce argument. Outside, the spring rain fell in torrents. From the east wing, I heard the heavy thud of furniture crashing to the floor. Early the next morning, the Marquis declared mother had attempted to elope and was murdered, her body thrown off a cliff. But I dug up her body beneath the flower bed in the small courtyard. She had been strangled. Purple bruises marked her neck, bearing the pattern of a Claudian scepter design, the same motif as the signet ring on the Marquis's finger. He demoted his wife to a concubine. He deceived mother her entire life, stubbornly imprisoning her within the Marquis's mansion. He refused to let her leave. So he killed her, then splashed filthy water over her body. My family shattered. Overnight, I became an orphan. The happiness of family reunions felt like a dream. I knelt in the courtyard, weeping for a long time. Spring rain fell like beans upon my body. My heart and flesh ached. Every year since, the purple violets in the fragrant garden bloomed with extraordinary vigor. I knew those resilient wildflowers had rooted themselves in my mother's chest, thriving and flourishing, nourished by her flesh and blood. Just as I grew up slowly, Consort Ro asked me what I desired. What I sought was nothing more than the destruction of the Marquis' estate and the death of its master. To avenge my mother. To accompany my maternal grandfather in death. She seemed somewhat startled. Do you know, she said, that a woman in the imperial harem without family backing is as adrift as a floating weed, utterly helpless like me? I seek only vengeance, I replied. I would sacrifice even this body. What then is there to fear from a Marquis' household that holds no place in my heart? After 3 or 4 months of recuperation, Consort Ro's grace remained undimmed by time. On the 3rd day after my investiture as Consort Zhao, she sat beneath wisteria blossoms in a single robe, playing a bamboo flute. The mournful melody drifted on the spring breeze to my Xihua palace. It was the love song she and the emperor had shared. Through the wide-open lattice window, the emperor was applying kohl to my eyebrows. Hearing the flute, his hand trembled, and the eyebrow pencil strayed onto my eyelid. Contrary to his expectation of my displeasure, I gently took his hand and murmured softly, I've heard that Consort Ro was once skilled at playing the flute. Though I, your humble concubine, am unskilled in music, I feel this flute's melody is like spring itself, bringing renewal to all things. Renewal to all things. Winter has passed, and spring has returned once more. In matters of love between man and woman, what deep-seated grudges cannot be mended? Especially when one is the supreme sovereign and the other his golden canary. In this scene, the greatest pity falls upon the one from the past. The emperor clearly felt stirred. He seemed about to set down the eyebrow pencil, yet frowned, glancing now at the window, now at the half-drawn eyebrow in the mirror. He was torn. I took the cloak and draped it over his shoulders, then hung the newly embroidered spring sachet at his waist. Your Majesty, the spring scenery is lovely. Please go and see it. Your concubine has a slight headache today and cannot go out in the breeze. I shall accompany you another day. I blinked, feigning lightheartedness. The emperor was deeply moved. He drew me into his embrace and whispered, Lingxi, you truly are unlike any other. You always understand me. I shall never betray your trust. Having spoken these words of profound affection, he turned and strode away without hesitation, his steps hurried, heading straight for another woman he had also vowed never to betray, Consort Ro. That night, Consort Ro regained favor. The emperor commanded her to oversee the inner palace, granting her status equal to that of imperial consort. The entire harem was stunned. Tong Yuyao and Bai Lingxin kept their lamps lit all night. Everyone was required to pay respects to Consort Ro. Having frequently attended the Empress Dowager, I had not seen my elder sister for a long time. When I saw her again, she radiated grace and elegance, her eyes sparkling with vitality. Having gained the upper hand in her rivalry with Tong Yuyao, she had been promoted to the rank of second-grade imperial consort. The concubines paid their respects to imperial consort Hui. I knelt to perform the ritual bow. My elder sister sat composed in her palanquin, idly fiddling with her fingernails. Consort Zhao, it has been a long time. Your sister misses you dearly. I shall keep you a little longer, to gaze upon you more. She smiled as she departed in the palanquin, leaving 2 elderly maids to scrutinize me in her stead. I was left standing in the sun as punishment. The sun's shadow shifted, its fierce rays beating down on me. Before long, my face was flushed crimson. Auntie, Our Lady must still pay her respects to Consort Ro. Any further delay will miss the appointed hour. My personal maid, Xiao Wan, pulled out 2 pouches and slipped them to the 2 old maids. One accepted hers, but the other remained unsatisfied, reaching out to tug at my sleeve. Your bracelet is quite lovely, Your Highness. Might you bestow it upon this humble servant? My elder sister treated me with contempt. Her maidservant followed her example. I lost my balance and was pulled to the ground. The jade bracelet slipped from my hand, shattering into 2 pieces. As I bent to retrieve it, a thunderous shout erupted. Insolent servants! How dare you humiliate Consort Zhao in public? Who gave you the audacity? It was the emperor. On Consort Ro's first day summoning the 6 palaces, the emperor intended to attend and support her, lest others show disrespect. Last night, she sent word to me of the emperor's arrival time. I deliberately arranged a chance encounter with my elder sister on the imperial street and obediently stood in punishment, all to await this moment of the hero rescuing the damsel in distress. My face, usually adorned with a faint smile, was now streaked with tears. "Your Majesty, that was the jade bracelet you bestowed upon this humble concubine. I failed to protect it and truly deserve punishment." I did not seize the moment to lodge a complaint. Instead, I gathered the shattered pieces into my handkerchief, my face drenched in tears. The Emperor already harbored guilt toward me. He swiftly pulled me up, soothing me softly. "Jade bracelets are plentiful. There's no need for sorrow. I shall bestow upon you the finest black jade bracelet. It is I who failed to protect you. Mother should punish me." His face, usually as sharp as a blade, now held a trace of tenderness. Upon learning whose servant this was, he ordered the Imperial Household Department to revoke my elder sister's green-headed plaque. Bullying the weak, oppressing the commoners, I detest such people most. They disregard propriety and filial piety, scheming and cheating at every turn. I misjudged Consort Hui. I was elevated to the rank of second-grade consort, standing a head taller than my elder sister. The Emperor himself was once a secondary son, oppressed by legitimate sons and daughters. He could empathize with my plight. Consort Ro also lent me her support. She toyed with the red coral beads on her wrist, murmuring a subtle complaint to the Emperor. During her confinement, Consort Hui had sent someone to borrow the jade-patterned paper screen with magpies perched on plum blossoms, which had yet to be returned. That screen bore the very scene of their courtship, complete with the Emperor's signature in his own handwriting. Both consorts, who sought to make amends, had been wronged by the magnanimous and virtuous Consort Hui. The Emperor's anger intensified. He stripped my elder sister of her Hui honorific, demoted her to third-rank noble consort, and confined her for 3 months. Her elder sister's counterattack came swiftly. She was pregnant. Though the Emperor had reigned for years, the palace held only 2 princesses and still no heir to inherit the throne. The elder sister was soon released from confinement and restored to the title of Consort Hui. Both the Empress Dowager and the Emperor held her in high regard. Her prominence rivaled that of Consort Ro. Late one night, I sought an audience with Consort Ro. Her chief lady-in-waiting, Tsueyu, coldly declared, "Her ladyship has retired for the night and receives no visitors. Consort Hui's pregnancy is also of great importance to her ladyship." I understood Consort Ro's meaning. After her miscarriage, her health had been ruined, leaving her unable to bear children. Therefore, she had no intention of removing my elder sister's child. Instead, she planned to protect it, intending to keep the child and eliminate the mother in the future. Her scheme was well laid. But my elder sister is no ordinary woman. Trained since childhood by palace matrons, she has long mastered the art of framing others to bolster her own reputation. Her cunning must not be underestimated. Without the favor of the Emperor's undying affection, Consort Ro stands no chance against her. Moreover, our Emperor is both passionate and fickle. After a year of constant companionship, he has grown fond of my elder sister, Bai Lingxin. He remembered her fondness for sweets. Even when dining with me, he would bestow a dish of osmanthus yam soup upon her and a serving of fried yellow croaker for Tong Yuyao. Habit. It is an emotion difficult to discern within oneself and nearly impossible for others to perceive. Yet it exists, undeniably. My elder sister repeatedly oppressed Consort Ro and me, such flagrant disregard for propriety being the Emperor's most detested offense. Yet she was demoted by only 1 rank. Caution stirred within me. Consort Ro was not a reliable ally. On the day we formed our alliance, she promised to eliminate my elder sister and the Ho family estate, while I pledged to remove the Emperor. The red coral incense beads she wore were my gift. I told her she must wear them daily. Those beads, I explained, conflicted with the medicinal properties of the Emperor's waist pouch. Over time, this would create toxicity, causing the Emperor's health to decline and ultimately lead to his demise. She had them examined and believed it to be true. However, I replaced the pouch hanging on the Emperor's waist daily. After she regained her position, she broke her promise. Naturally, I ceased replacing the pouch with the conflicting medicine, lest I leave myself vulnerable. The red coral incense beads now serve only as ornaments, devoid of any potency. However, If I were to wear a green sea worm powder pouch myself and pay daily respects to Consort Ro, then those red coral beads would become poison. Consort Ro herself would be in grave danger. Truthfully, my visit tonight was merely to warn her, the Empress Dowager's dishes contain musk, which she should avoid, lest it trigger hemorrhaging. It had nothing to do with my elder sister. Her petty nature spares me future troubles. I'm not overly disappointed. Human hearts shift easily, mutual attacks are but the natural course of things. Another ally, the disgraced consort Xin, Tong Yuyao, soon came knocking. If anyone in this palace harbors the deepest hatred for the eldest sister, it is undoubtedly Tong Yuyao. The eldest sister ruined her reputation and caused her to lose a child, leading to her complete fall from favor. Your sister is no good. I had people investigate you. Surely you hate her as much as I do. Join forces to eliminate her. We'll share the favor equally. What do you say? I reached out a hand and gently clasped hers, skin stretched taut over bones. Deal. The innocence of a young girl vanished from her eyes, replaced by a fire that could devour. Consort Ro did not break ties with me. I maintained my customary decorum toward her. During court greetings, I often rebuffed disrespectful consorts on her behalf. The consort's commands were obeyed without question throughout the harem. Seated upon her throne, her makeup flawless, her brows and eyes radiated an icy, distant aura, a world away from her former sickly, exiled self. When her gaze fell upon me, it carried a sharp edge. Consort Zhao is wise. Next month is Consort Hui's birthday banquet. Since you are sisters, why not have you oversee the arrangements? What a clever scheme. Knowing full well I despise my elder sister and would be most likely to scheme at the banquet, she deliberately chose me to be in charge. Should anything go awry at the banquet, I would be the one to bear the blame. Thus, not only would I refrain from harming my elder sister, but I would be compelled to protect her. A bitter laugh echoed within me. Consort Ro was pushing her luck. Not only had she crossed me after escaping the cold palace, but she now forced me to safeguard my enemy. What kind of logic was this? I glanced at Xiao Wan. She stood bowed in a corner, pressed close to the cloak hung by Consort Ro, quietly fiddling with the green sea worm sachets at her waist. Sunlight streamed brightly into the grand hall, making the gold bricks shimmer. Dust particles drifted lazily through the air like tiny mayflies. The green powder was incredibly fine, a mere flick of a finger scattered it without a breath of wind, settling anywhere. The cloak was originally sky blue. A blend of blue and green, like lush, thriving vegetation. Consort Ro sneezed inexplicably. I slowly raised my head, my lips curving into the gentlest, most harmless smile. I shall obey the consort's command. The Empress Dowager and the Emperor placed great importance on my elder sister's pregnancy, dispatching palace maids, wet nurses, midwives, and eunuchs. Tong Yuyao couldn't get involved at all. She was growing impatient. My child was lost at 3 months, Bai Lingxin's child couldn't survive much longer either. Bai Lingxi, how can you not be anxious at all? How can you still have the heart to embroider here? Consort Ro is a fool. Have you been associating too closely with her and caught her foolishness too? Her, you see. Spoiled since childhood, she'd never been denied anything. She couldn't bear to wait even a moment longer. Remember, some telltale signs only reveal themselves at the right moment. Once exposed, they spell certain death. Yuyao, try my freshly brewed white tea. She gulped it down in one angry gulp. You're just too honest. Well, I still have mother to protect me. You have no foundation to stand on, so I must think ahead for you. With my elder sister's birthday banquet 10 days away, I'm paying extra attention, handling everything personally. Even at night, I'm inspecting the items prepared by the Imperial Household Department. This floral scent is too overpowering, unsuitable for a pregnant woman. Remove it. Lay velvet carpets over the stone slabs to prevent slipping. Xiao Wan held a bolt of silk. Your Highness, the maidservants attending Consort Huizhao have come requesting new garments. They say they haven't made new attire in a year, and even their undergarments have faded. They can't disgrace Consort Huizhao at the birthday banquet. This silk was gifted by Consort Ro yesterday and hasn't been stored yet. Why not give them this bolt? Xiao Wan is indeed clever. Though the silk is fine, it carries a faint floral scent, as if soaked in medicinal liquid. I touched my own small belly. Then let's offer borrowed flowers to the Buddha. You decide. Speaking of which, Xiaowan also hated her elder sister intensely. After enduring 20 lashes, she developed chronic leg pain in winter. Last year, to humiliate me, the elder sister transferred Xiaowan to the laundry room. She washed mountains of clothes day and night while enduring harassment from the elder sister's maids. Xiaowan's dedication was only natural. In just 10 short days. The eldest sister wasn't idle. Her old wet nurse took my meals from the imperial kitchen, then accidentally dropped them into the river. Alas, we maids meant well, hoping to plead our mistress's case to Lady Jowie, but our clumsiness ruined everything. Lady Jowie is always considerate of her servants, surely she won't blame us. Our lady is frail, such trifles should not trouble her mind. I paid it no mind. When the emperor visited me that night, I made no complaint. I simply lay quietly in his embrace, feigning tenderness and hurt. Your Majesty, thunderstorms rage tonight. Please go see my sister. She is timid. Your servant is not afraid. A thunderclap exploded at the horizon, rumbling loudly. I shuddered and clung tightly to the emperor's waist, yet my words still murmured, "Sister is afraid too. You needn't worry about me." He rested his chin on my shoulder, gently patting my back. Lingxi, I won't leave. Your sister has the loyal, faithful Marquis's household and her child to protect her. You have nothing. You only have me. I will not abandon you. In his eyes, I was merely a trembling little white flower. Without family to rely on, I could only love and revere him with unwavering devotion. Just like the gentle consort Ro of old, who held no grudges. As torrential rain poured down, my elder sister's matron still knocked upon my palace door. Your Majesty, consort Hui Zhao is too frightened to sleep. Only your imperial aura can protect her and the child. I tried to both persuade and decline. I sent the emperor to my elder sister's quarters. Shoo. I too am with child. Unable to attend to the emperor's bedchamber. Why not go with the flow, granting the emperor another chance to feel remorse? The birthday banquet. My elder sister sat regally at the center, her full moon face framed by feathered robes and splendid garments, calmly fanning herself with a round fan. This palace does not wish for extravagance, but the emperor's deep affection leaves us no choice but to accept. All sisters should conduct themselves with reverence and soon ease the emperor's burdens. She carried herself as if the mistress of the harem. Consort Ro's face darkened. She accidentally knocked over a fruit tray, sending crimson fruits tumbling across the floor. The eldest sister remarked coolly, Lingxi, gather them for me and apologize to the consort. I am with child and cannot perform the ritual. Her maids, clad in shoe-embroidered orchid-patterned robes, stood motionless, merely kicking the red fruits toward me. I hold the foremost rank among second-grade consorts, the title of imperial consort, ranking above my elder sister, the imperial consort of grace. Within the palace, sisters were ranked by position, not by birth order. I did not move. The red fruit glistened with honey, and ants crawled up the maid's shoe tips. My elder sister looked somewhat embarrassed, her brow furrowed. The imperial physician said I mustn't be upset. Ah. This belly. Why has the pain returned? She threatened me. Still, I did not move. Time was running out. Someone should have made a move. Sure enough, one of my elder sister's personal maids suddenly began scratching her ears and cheeks. The sound of her nails tearing at her skin was like silkworms gnawing mulberry leaves, sending shivers down one's spine. My elder sister snapped angrily, Wutong. What are you doing? The maid's face was already scratched bloody. Your servant. Your servant. It itches so badly. It started last night. And it just won't stop itching. Xiaowan had once washed Wutong's clothes and knew she was allergic to pollen. This silk had been soaked in purple eggplant pollen by consort Rong. Purple eggplant flowers possess contraceptive properties. If used by a pregnant woman, they induce miscarriage. When exposed to red sandalwood ants, they cause unbearable pain and itching. All things in nature have their opposites. Herbs are remarkably effective tools. Tong Yuyao immediately stood up. This banquet was arranged by Lady Jowie. Given the rumors of discord between you sisters, who's to say she didn't poison Lady Hui Zhao? In my opinion, we should summon the imperial physician to examine this palace maid. Consort Zhao, do you dare? She was notoriously outspoken. My face instantly drained of color. Flustered, I lowered my head and stammered, no. No. I don't know what happened. Could it be something wrong with the silk? That satin was taken from me. My panic grew, the panic on my face threatening to swallow me whole. My elder sister, however, remained calm and immediately sent someone to fetch the imperial physician. Lingxi, did you give her the silk for the ceremonial robe? Are you trying to kill me? She fixed me with a piercing stare. The Grand Princess entered the palace to visit the Empress Dowager. The two physicians usually attending my elder sister were summoned to Shokong Palace. To my knowledge, those two physicians were recommended by the matron Yang Yuan. They were old acquaintances who held my elder sister's health in the highest regard. Today, however, an elderly physician with a goat's beard arrived. He swiftly determined that Baijia's silk contained purple eggplant pollen, to which the palace maid Wutong was allergic. Your Highness, eggplant pollen triggers severe reactions. You spend every day with this palace maid, have you experienced any discomfort? A flicker of panic crossed the eldest sister's face. She hastily waved him off. I am perfectly well. You may withdraw. Hold on, elder physician Wu. Take Lady Hui's pulse. Imperial bloodlines demand no negligence. The Grand Princess had arrived. Tong Yuyao dispatched a messenger, and the Grand Princess, supporting the Empress Dowager, promptly arrived at the banquet. The Empress Dowager agreed. Consort Hui doesn't understand the severity of this matter, it's best to have the physician examine her for peace of mind. This Empress Dowager has long awaited this golden grandson. My elder sister pressed her hand to her forehead, insisting on using her own two physicians. She claimed she was accustomed to their pulse-taking and treatments, and that her pregnancy-preserving medicine remained consistently effective. Her evasive manner aroused suspicion. The Grand Princess smiled. Senior Physician Wu is the chief physician of the Imperial Medical Academy. His skill surpasses that of two men combined. Consort Hui Zhao, you need not worry. My elder sister's face turned as white as paper, and she suddenly collapsed with a faint moan. I rushed forward, grabbing her waist and pinching it hard. The pain made her eyes snap open. Senior Physician Wu had already begun taking her pulse. Strange? His expression changed drastically. He tried again. His graying eyebrows furrowed deeper. Finally, he pursed his lips and announced, Your Majesty, Consort Hui is not with child. The entire assembly gasped in shock. After multiple physicians confirmed the diagnosis, my elder sister's false pregnancy was exposed. She protested her innocence, claiming she had been deceived by those two physicians. She had no idea why they would commit such treason. This concubine is truly innocent. The emperor's anger flared. Innocent? Then I shall investigate thoroughly to uncover who is playing these tricks, lest I wrongly accuse you, Consort Hui Zhao. My elder sister, along with the palace maids, eunuchs, and old wet nurses, were all taken to the Ministry of Punishment. I came to plead before your Majesty. My sister has always been timid, how could she do such a thing? It was Lady Ho and wet nurse Yang Yuan who pushed her too far. I beg your Majesty to spare my sister's life. This whole affair mirrors the spring banquet. The wheel of fortune turns, now I am the one uttering these words. Nanny Yang was also thrown into prison. The Ministry of Punishment excels at interrogation. Within days, they uncovered the entire truth. When Consort Ro made her comeback, my elder sister was stripped of her title. Fearing she'd fall out of favor, she spread false rumors of pregnancy to draw attention, planning to miscarry during the birthday banquet. That tray of red fruits? She had someone deliberately knock it over. Then, she'd accidentally step on it, slip, miscarry, and faint, all in one seamless sequence. Her excuse? Being startled by ants. The culprit behind this scheme would be Consort Ro. The fake pregnancy would appear flawless, conveniently sending Consort Ro back to the coal palace. But she hadn't counted on the palace maid Wutong and the well-meaning Tong Yuyao ruining her plans. The brocade undergarment Wu Tong wore, though obtained from me, was actually a gift from Consort Ro. Her chief maid, Tsueyu, had even complained about it at the time. The imperial consort really doesn't give our mistress any face. She personally took the trouble to perfume that exquisite shoe brocade, yet she just handed it over to Consort Hui's maidservant. What a waste of her good intentions. A concubine's daughter remains a concubine's daughter, even as a mistress, she's still beneath respect. Xiaowan had a huge fight with her. Many palace maids and eunuchs can testify. The purple eggplant pollen became Consort Ro's incriminating evidence. As for the meddlesome Tong Yuyao, always butting heads with everyone, at odds with her legitimate sister, looking down on Consort Ro for her dancer origins, and equally dismissive of me, born of a concubine. On the day of the birthday banquet, her fanning the flames and reveling in the spectacle was only to be expected. The emperor harbored no suspicion. He knew this cousin wore her emotions on her sleeve, her schemes as shallow as a bone dish. It was her mother, the Grand Princess, who was the true strategist, a woman of great cunning and ambition. These noble families, meddling in court affairs, deserved a stern warning. The Marquis of Zhongxin's household would serve as a warning. My elder sister was executed for treason. I wept before the emperor. As sisters, let me accompany her on her final journey. His gaze grew complex as he helped me to my feet. Go. I await your return for supper. When I arrived at the Ministry of Punishment bearing a box of osmanthus yam cakes, half of my elder sister's slender, onion-like fingernails had been torn off. She struggled fiercely, yet could not break free from the eunuch's grip. I am the imperial consort Hui, personally appointed by His Majesty. As the eldest daughter of the Marquis of Loyalty and Faith, the emperor would never sentence me to death. You castrated men, don't even think of harming me. She refused to drink the poisoned wine. Lingxi, have you come to save me? Seeing me appear in the cell, my elder sister's clouded eyes suddenly brightened. At the end of her rope, even I had become a lifeline in her eyes. That year, she insisted on transferring Xiaowan to the laundry quarters. I gave Xiaowan a pouch of herbal powder, colorless deer-bite grass that dissolved instantly in water. Washed with it, garments became soft and exceptionally gentle on the skin. My elder sister's 4 personal maidservants grew particularly fond of the clothes Xiaowan washed. Thus, they secretly handed their mistresses' garments to Xiaowan as well. My elder sister had delicate skin. She once had 2 maids beaten to death for causing redness on her arms from friction during laundry. Everyone lived in fear. They didn't know that such substances were cooling in nature. Overuse could lead to coldness in the body and infertility. They only thought of self-preservation. Thus, I knew long ago that my elder sister's pregnancy was fake. Her relentless scheming was utterly laughable. Sister, I've come to see you off. This plate of osmanthus yam cakes, eat your fill, so you'll have strength for the journey. My movements were gentle as silk. Ivory chopsticks pierced the pale yellow cakes, sweet and sticky, their soft texture holding a jarring, cruel beauty in the dim candlelight of the dungeon. My elder sister shook her head violently. Her tangled, filthy hair whipped like pebbles against my hand, stinging painfully, knocking a piece of cake to the floor. The eunuch swung his arm wide, slapping her twice across the face with a sharp crack. Your Highness, do not soil your hands. Blood trickled from her mouth. Seeing no hope of rescue, she began to curse wildly. Bai Lingxi, you'll die a horrible death. Father and mother won't spare you. Your dead mother will be dug up from Fongyuan, her bones crushed to dust, condemned to eternal torment. You won't escape punishment either. Xiaowan picked up 2 more pastries. The eunuch pried open the eldest sister's mouth and shoved them in. Her face contorted in fury, several teeth clattering to the floor. I cast one last glance before slowly pacing out the prison gate. Sister, you still don't know. The loyal and trustworthy Marquis's household secretly harbored the criminal slave Yang Yuan, spying on imperial secrets. Their title has been stripped, their estate confiscated. With so many enemies, father and mother can barely protect themselves. Their fate may be even worse than yours. The entire Marquis's household. Finally buried alongside mother and grandfather. The cell door creaked shut. The mournful wail of the wooden hinge mingled with my elder sister's heart-wrenching cries, both lost in the torrential downpour. The rain fell hard. Pale rain threads took root from the ground, weaving densely together like bubbling tea water. This bustling imperial palace. Lost one consort Ro. Gained one consort Zhao. Imperial physician Wu took my pulse and discovered I was 3 months with child. Due to the purple eggplant powder affair, consort Ro was demoted to consort. Before, she could monopolize 8 parts of the emperor's favor because the 6 palaces were empty, and the empress's birthright made her naturally unpopular. When heroes are absent, even fools gain renown. She was nothing but a pretty face without substance. Tong Yuyao sneered at the thought. Now, however, the harem teemed with countless beauties. The eloquent flower was me, the sweet young plum was Tong Yuyao, the music bureau had newly recruited a batch of delicate, supple dancers, and the empress dowager was preparing for a new round of imperial selection. The gentle concubine, once as luminous as the moon. Her youth remains, yet it has faded. Her constitution was already frail. After enduring the emperor's furious rebuke, her spirit was shattered. Her decline was visible to the naked eye. The last time she paid her respects to me, white strands had sprouted at her temples. Weariness and world-weariness permeated her eyes and brows, her smile a bitter one. What a cunning move. Both consort Hui and I underestimated you. I merely smiled without reply. What is consort Ro saying? I cannot make sense of it. Illness breeds excessive thought, further draining the spirit. She now suffers from uterine hemorrhage and cannot attend to the emperor's bedchamber. At my and Tong Yuyao's suggestion, consort Ro left the palace for Chuntai Temple to pray for the princess she once lost through miscarriage. A life of monastic devotion, shaving her head before the ancient Buddha, is her best fate. 36 Under the Empress Dowager's unwavering protection, I gave birth to the crown prince. The emperor adores this child, personally cradling him and humming lullabies. I was taken away by Empress Dowager Rongxin at birth, no one ever sang me a lullaby. Back then, even a single cry of mine was deemed a transgression. May my son live free from calamity and illness, blessed with both longevity and health. The eldest prince grew safely to the age of 2. Tong Yuyao also became pregnant. She gave birth to the second imperial son. However, due to consanguinity, this child was frail and frequently ill. Even in summer, he wore thick cotton robes. His temperament was particularly spoiled and willful, often terrifying the parrot Tongxin into trembling in its cage. He was the spitting image of a young Tong Yuyao. My alliance with her was never ironclad. After my elder sister was executed and consort Ro was banished, we became rivals once more. She would poison the emperor's mind, claiming I was as falsely compassionate as my elder sister, yet more venomous than a scorpion. I've figured out her not-so-sharp mind and don't get angry. I deflect her attacks effortlessly. Your Majesty, please don't blame consort Xin. She speaks her mind, and I take it in stride. My scoldings mean little. What truly matters is harmony in the harem, so you may rule the realm without worry. This back and forth keeps things interesting. Over the next decade, Tong Yuyao and I alternated between harmony and friction. Together we weathered consort Ro's resurgence, sent the empress to Chuntai Temple to contain her, countered foreign consorts' provocations, and navigated the crisis when the emperor fainted and feudal princes pressured the court. Equally, we tacitly competed for our son's claim to the throne. She rallied legions of noble generals to demonstrate strength in the court, while I gathered countless literati officials whose impeachment petitions snowed down relentlessly. With no legitimate heir, the eldest son claimed the position of eldest and, being robust in health, was ultimately named crown prince. The second son was enfeoffed as Prince of Zhou. The tumultuous affairs of the imperial harem gradually drew to a close with the emperor's demise. When I became Empress Dowager, I sat beneath the wisteria arbor sipping tea with consort Tong. This spring felt as serene as that spring banquet years ago. She downed her tea in one gulp, her voice tinged with disdain. Your tea is always so weak, utterly tasteless. Just like you, so fake. I laughed at her. At your age, still so sharp-tongued. Too much fried food has made even tea taste bland. You must take care of yourself. She swayed gently in her bamboo chair, her snow-blue skirt flowing like water, her face still radiating a girl's self-satisfaction. The emperor had favored her. His Majesty left me and Prince Zhou a life-saving military token, granting command over 100,000 troops. My life, it is safe. A sparrow alighted on the wisteria trellis, chirping once. Flowers rustled down, yet the stems remained utterly still. I suppressed my smile and spoke earnestly. The late emperor's will dictates I shall treat you and Prince Zhou well. But should you bring calamity upon the people, even his spirit in heaven would cease to protect you. Yu Yao, conduct yourself wisely. In the 13th year of Xijing, the emperor held his second imperial selection. To win over the military nobles who held the reins of power, I, in my capacity as empress dowager, visited the Yongding marquis' residence to celebrate the old lady's birthday. The household was run by a concubine, and the second daughter, born to her, had overshadowed the eldest. At the banquet, a string of Buddhist prayer beads snapped, scattering Bodhi seeds across the floor. A lovely young girl stood there, her eyes brimming with tears. Sister, even if you resent me, you shouldn't have cut the gold thread of my prayer beads. Snow-white locust blossoms fell onto her jet-black hair bun. Her features were as delicate as jade, breathtakingly beautiful. I felt as though I were seeing myself from years past. The end.